On the show in Wheelspin, we drive the Porsche Cayman GTS. And in Wheelspin, we ride the Benelli TNT 300. And in Going in Style, we take a look at the safest car in the world, the Mercedes S car.
Summer is finally here, and on a hot day like this with the sun relentlessly beating down, it is hardly an ideal day to go shooting cars. But as you see, I am out. And the reason I am out is because there is something even hotter waiting for me out there. A red hot sizzling sports car which is begging to be driven hard and fast. So time for me to get going. And things also get a little extra special when you find out that this is also a Porsche. In this case, the latest from Porsche India, the Cayman GTS Gran Turismo Sport, which means a little more power and a lot more fun. So it's time to get in behind the wheels and check out what this Cayman GTS is all about.
Porsche India has been selling the Cayman for a while, but it is only recently that they have added the Cayman GTS to the range. The GTS of course offers more power and a few cosmetic changes to differentiate it from the regular Cayman.
The Cayman has always been a good-looking car in true Porsche tradition, and what differentiates this GTS from the regular model is a new front end and also some changes to the rear end as well. What you see now is a new nose with a new spoiler lip and also two large air intakes, polished in black of course. It gives a nice look to the front end and also very, and I must say very intelligent headlamps. These are smoked out by xenons. They actually swivel around depending on the steering angle to illuminate all the dark bends in the night and also dim when they see the oncoming traffic, something that would come in very handy in a fast car like this. And in terms of dimensions, this GTS has not really changed much. It's identical to the basic Cayman except for the fact that it has grown about 30 millimeters in length. This 30mm increase in length has given this Cayman GTS a much more proportionate stance, and it sits on 20-inch alloys with low-profile tires, which gives it again a very sporty appearance. And as you move towards the back of the car, you can't miss this side air scoops, which of course tells you that this is a proper mid-engine car. And as you walk towards the rear of the car, you can't fail to notice this. The twin exhausts, and this is what impresses me the most about the rear end, because this screams out its intentions loud and clear that this is a very fast sports car. And I love the positioning of this right in the center with shiny chrome, looks really impressive. Add to this a high gloss black finish diffuser and of course the smoked out tail lamps to complete the differentiation between the GTS and the regular Cayman here.
The Cayman, like most other Porsche cars, offers a mid-engine layout, which essentially makes it a two-seater. But then the advantage of the mid-engine is better weight distribution to improve the handling characteristics. And of course, the acoustics also improves in terms of what the driver hears every time he steps on the gas pedal.
The main difference between the GTS variant and the regular Cayman variant is the fact that the GTS variant pumps out a little more power. When you look at the spec sheet and you say that it's only 15 bhp more and 10 Newton meters of torque more, you might not be very impressed. But I can tell you that in a sports car, every bhp matters, and this is what makes the difference in the GTS. The GTS is of course much more fun to drive than the regular Cayman. It belts out 340 brake horsepower, gets to a top speed of just under 300 kilometers. 285 kilometers is the top speed on this Cayman GTS. It gets to the 0 to 100 kilometer in just 4.9 seconds, and if you do put it on the Sport Plus mode, It clips the timing by 0.3 seconds and gets to the 100 kilometer then in just 4.6 seconds. Okay, you might say it's still not in the supercar territory. Yeah, it is not, but then it's fast enough. And what makes it really drivable is the flexible chassis. This is one chassis which actually puts every BHP onto the wheels. It's very dynamic and it is very, very drivable. What you like about the Cayman is the instant flexibility of the car. You can not only go very fast, but you can change directions also very quickly. And it comes across as a very well sorted out, very well balanced package. The performance is of course not supercar league. It's not so maniacal, but it is very balanced, it's very refined, and this is what you like about the Cayman. It's so very drivable on an everyday basis. This is one car actually I feel is a very nice alternative to buying a hyper supercar. This is a car you can live with almost anywhere. You can drive it on the highways and you can get to any illegal speed limits in a matter of seconds. It's made it to a 7-speed gearbox, which of course gives you different options like economy and sport plus if you happen to find yourself on a racetrack. And the best thing about the Cayman, what I like, is that this is also a mid-engine car. The engine sits right behind you, which means that the weight distribution is much more even. And this ensures that the handling is really good. It sits on fat 235 tires, which ensures that during fast cornering, you have all the stability. And the steering is really well balanced. It gives you a lot of feedback, and at the same time, it's not hard. Another area where I really like the Cayman is that the ride is very sorted out. It's very well balanced. It doesn't compromise on the handling at all, but at the same time, it's not bone jarring. You don't get rattled every time you hit a pothole, and that's something really nice. When you are at the wheels of this Cayman, there is no mistaking the fact that you are at the wheels of a very nice, fast sports car. There's plenty of feedback coming from the steering, and you know exactly how fast you are going because you see the landscape vanishing very fast out of the window, and it's really a nice feeling. Overall, the Cayman here comes across as a very refined car. And if you are a driver who is keen to go fast and at the same time you're not willing to put up with all the idiosyncrasies of a supercar like hard steering, rattly feeling over the potholes, then this is the car which will really make you happy. If you step inside the Cayman GTS here, you're not going to be caught by surprise because you will find everything that you might have expected in a top-end sports car. Or if you have had previous experience with the Porsche brand, then you would find the layout very similar and all the gizmos here very, very familiar. But then this is not to say that the Cayman GTS is not well equipped. It has everything you might need, including hand-stitched leather here, a nice navigation system with a big display, a sound system with Bose speakers, and when you look inside the instrumentation cluster here, you find that the RPM meter is in red to add to the excitement and to remind you that you are driving a sports car. And what I really like about the instrumentation cluster here is the addition of the tire pressure monitoring system. Okay, that's nothing new, many cars have it, but what they tell you normally is that you are low on pressure on one of the wheels, but not in this car. In this car, you get the readout which tells you the exact pressure on all the individual wheels. And this is a nice addition.
The company also offers the additional chrono pack in the Cayman GTS to boost performance, and there is a high level of customization options available to make the car more to your liking. But obviously you will have to pay that much extra for it.
Within the Porsche family, the Cayman, or for that matter, the Cayman GTS here is sandwiched between the Boxster on one hand and the superhero of the family, the 911 on the other. And I can tell you honestly that I haven't seen too many cars which fit into a family so well and find a sweet spot for themselves. The Cayman, in fact, combines all the attributes of the brand Porsche so very well. She's good looking, has oodles of power coming from the mid-engine here, and of course has all the luxuries that you expect from a top-end sports car. And the best part is, she doesn't cost as much as a 911 or any other supercar does. So if you're looking for a nice, fast sports car to drive on an everyday basis, this Cayman should be your choice. And I can tell you one more thing, if you do decide to take the Cayman to a racetrack on the weekend, you surely are not going to leave it red-faced.
In terms of pricing, what you will pay for the Cayman GTS is more than the regular Cayman, and what you get extra is the differentiated looks and also more power and torque, which is sure to make the drive more exciting. The Cayman GTS is priced at Rs 1.18 crores ex-showroom Delhi.
The TNT 300 is a bike which could make or break Benelli's fortunes in India. While it's great to have a halo product like the 1130 we tested previously on the show, that will remain an aspiration for most. Instead, this 300 is a bike which will appeal to the types who rode a 100cc commuter bike in college and graduated to a 150 when they got their first paycheck. Hang on a sec, that sounds a little like me.
The TNT 300 is the smallest capacity bike from DSK Benelli on sale in India. Although it carries the TNT moniker, it is not a 3-cylinder bike like the bigger 899 and the 1130 TNTs we've ridden earlier. Instead, it is powered by a 300cc parallel twin engine. In principle, this bike is similar to the Ninja 300 with a 2-cylinder engine, but it is more of an everyday street bike rather than a mini race replica, which should mean less weight on my wrists and an easy to ride stance. It also looks comfortable enough to sit on.
The TNT 300 styling is a bit of a mixed bag. I really like it when a functional element like the rear shock absorber here also forms part of the visual appeal of the motorcycle. However, this anonymous looking tank is not to my liking. The fuel tank should form the centerpiece of a bike's design, and in the case of the TNT 300, that is just not the case.
One thing is for sure, Benelli is making an effort to make their bikes appear appealing. Even an entry-level model like the TNT 300 has upside-down front forks, dual-petal disc rotors in the front, liquid cooling, and so on. These are specs usually found on bigger, more expensive machines, and the fact that DSK Benelli offers these on a humble 300 earns them brownie points.
When you buy a Benelli TNT 300, you can opt for either Pirelli tires, like our test bike is fitted with, or MRF tires. The MRF tires are slightly narrower, which might translate to better fuel economy. However, the Pirellis are surely grippier. Benelli informs us that more than 90% of customers have opted for the Pirelli tires. The price difference, if you were interested to know, is just 10,000 rupees, in which case it makes sense to go for the Pirelli tires. So what's the Benelli TNT 300 like to ride? In simple terms, it's a good chassis led down by a somewhat mediocre engine. Another thing is, it's geared shortly. It's quite a buzzy engine. There are a lot of vibrations coming through the foot pegs, which are a little disconcerting. Also, you need to use a lot of throttle and really push the needle towards the nether regions of the rev range to get it to really make a move. There's also a bit of a flat spot in the engine around the 5000 RPM mark, which also detracts a little bit from riding pleasure. So in that sense, like I said right at the start, this is a good chassis It's got great balance, it turns into corners very positively, it shifts from side to side really well, but it's let down by the engine. The TNT 300 Street Fighter styling also provides for an upright riding position, which is actually very comfortable on a commute. Unlike something like the Ninja 300, which is a mini race replica that puts a lot of weight on your wrist.
But it's always nice to talk numbers, and Benelli claims the TNT 300 has 38 bhp and 26.5 Newton meters of torque, and that should be enough for what is essentially a commuter bike. If we are to compare this to the Kawasaki Ninja 300, then we see the Benelli actually produces a little more power.
And now it's verdict time. I really wanted to like this Benelli 300, you know. But when I weigh the pros against the cons, unfortunately it's the cons that win out. As nice as this bike is to ride, there are still some bits that I cannot reconcile on a 3.25 lakh rupee motorcycle. The plastics, the quality of the switchgear, etc. still leaves something to be desired. Add to it the fact that there are bikes from other more established brands like Kawasaki in this market for similar kind of money. It makes the 300's case just a little bit weaker.
If you have recently been upgraded to the status of a multi-billionaire, or you're a celebrated cricketer or a film star or even a crooked politician, then what you need is protection, especially when you're on the move. And if this is so, then you will be really happy to see what Mercedes has launched this week. This one.
Mercedes calls this the S-Card, as this is based on the S-Class, but with many additions including special tires, full underbody protection and reinforced windscreen and windows. The car now weighs over 4.5 tons. And that's a lot of weight even for a car which is as big as this.
At first glance, you might mistake this for a regular S-Class, but try opening the door and you will immediately realize that this is no ordinary car. This door alone weighs 200 kilograms. This is armor plated. In short, this is an S-Class which has been turned into an S-Card. This is what Mercedes calls it, and this is almost an armored vehicle. But let's have a look now as to what the changes inside are.
To give you some examples, the underfloor protection of this car is the first one which is completely closed. So this is the first passenger car that can absorb the attack of 2 hand grenades with simultaneous ignition. Another thing is the increased thickness of the safety glass, which lies far above the thickness of our competitor cars. And this is the result. This results in a safety level VR9, which is the biggest safety level for armored cars. This car can withstand, for example, an AK-47 with hardcore munition. This is a standard weapon that we use to test this car, for example. But the car can even go further. It can withstand at least some shoots of a sniper rifle. The tires are special run-flat tires that allow the car to drive also in case there is no pressure in the tire. The car can drive with a velocity of about 80 kilometers for a distance with more than 20 to 30 kilometers.
The company will offer these vehicles in the E, M and the G class as well, but the S-Guard is of course the premium offering. If you had thought that all this attention to making a car the safest car in the world will detract Mercedes from loading the car with the best of luxury, then you are completely wrong. Because with the S-Class tag, this car remains a pinnacle of luxury. After all, if you are paying as much as rupees 9 crores for this car, you not only need to be protected but pampered as well. And this one looks quite capable of doing both with equal ease.
They tell us that this is a car which can stop bullets or even grenades, even 2 at a time. But I don't think I'm going to check that out while I'm inside the car. But the big question on my mind here is that with all this weight loaded on, is this car really good as a getaway vehicle if I'm being pursued? Well, time for me to find that out. As I told you, a whole lot of weight has been added onto this car to make it as safe as this. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. 1900 kgs or close to 2 tons of gizmos have been added to this car. And this really makes her heavy. And to counter that weight, what you get here is a 5.6-litre V12 under the bonnet, a petrol engine of course, which belts out 530 brake horsepower and 830 Newton meters of torque to counter all that weight. Which means that even with all this bulk added on, you still get to the 100-kilometer mark in just under 7 seconds. And you hit a top speed of over 200 kilometers. And that should make it pretty easy for you to escape if you are being pursued. And to take care of all that extra weight, the suspension system and the brakes have been beefed up. You get much larger disc brakes on all the 4 wheels, plus you get a suspension which is of course much stronger to hold that weight and gives you a very stable ride. So what you are getting is a car which is very stable in spite of the size and the bulk.
The S-Guard is a car which is complete with all safety features as well. Comes with a night vision camera as well as 360-degree camera, a panic alarm system, emergency fresh air system, and for dynamic safety comes with anti-lock braking system, traction control, hill assist, and of course an array of airbags. You might have seen in the movies that the good guy, to escape from the bad guy who is constantly shooting at him, zigzags his way across. So my question now is, can a car this size with so much weight really zigzag around? Well, let's see. Oh boy, I tell you, she is doing a fantastic job of dodging a pursuer. I am impressed. It really surprised me as to how agile this car really is, in spite of over 900 kgs being added on. So actually, you're like the good guy, who can change lines pretty fast to dodge the bad guy. Impressive indeed.
Well, if I am driving this and I'm being pursued and I can't get away, then I guess God will have to help me. So I'm going to go and get this one. But wait a minute, no one is really pointing a gun at me yet. So I'll let this go for the time being. But if you are a celebrity and you need protection in the move, then I think this is your best bet.